Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. We're so grateful that everybody is here to listen to our PCIS webinar. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Okay, so my name is Amanda Emmanuel. I'm the sales manager for Promethean Consulting Limited. And Promethean Consulting Limited is an IT consultancy firm, and we've been in operation for more than a decade. So we're well known for our IT network, infrastructural, and IT security management. So we give, very good first-class service and amazing solution, that stands us out. So, and this has made us good. I mean, anywhere we're being mentioned, we're known for great service and skills. Okay, so I want to use the opportunity to say a very, very big welcome to our wonderful audience present here. So today we'll be talking about PCIS. It's a cloud computing service with today's topic focusing on practical solution for your cloud and data management. So without further ado, speaking will be Elvis Okwe, who is our cloud network engineer, and he will be speaking on the practicality of this solution. Okay, and next we'll have Damilola Mutiat. She's the product manager, and she'll be speaking on the commercialization of the solution and the different price category. So before I call on our first speaker, Elvis, if you have any questions, during the course of the webinar, you can just put them in the chat box so that after each presenter, we'll just take it over from there. Thank you so much. I think we just have 30 minutes. Won't take much of your time. Thank you. So Elvis, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Amanda. So am I audible enough?
Yes, you are. Please go on.
Okay. So good morning. So good afternoon, sorry. So as Amanda rightly said, my name is Elvis, and I am a cloud network engineer for Promethean Cloud. And then just today's session, we're just going to be speaking on cloud and how it can help digitize or simplify your business needs. So today, my goal is not really to sell you on our products or our offering, but I'm just basically going to just be bringing to you the awareness of how cloud is, what cloud does, and how hosting cloud or hosting cloud solutions can help affect your business. And I like how this webinar is coming in at this end of the year, end quarter, because these are the times where folks like to make innovations and make incentives for the new year. So I'm hoping that by the end of this webinar, you guys will start thinking of what cloud is and how cloud makes sense, and if it's something that you should really put on your radar for next year to help actualize your business initiatives. So, like I said, I'm going to talk on cloud computing. So I'll go to the next slide. So this is just the table of content. I'll just not talk too much about this. I'm just going to just head on to the next slide so that we can get going. So I'll start with cloud. So I know we have all heard of cloud, we have all heard of iCloud, OneDrive, but what exactly is cloud? Like, what is this word cloud? It's not up there in the sky. It's basically just a service or servers that are being hosted in data centers around the world, that they host your data, they host your applications, and then you access it over the internet. That is basically what cloud is. So it's not a very fancy word. It's basically just hosting your applications, hosting your servers, hosting your data in a data center somewhere in the world that you can access using the internet. So it's not stored locally in your device, it's stored somewhere else, but you can access it through the internet. So that's basically what cloud is. So now, what is now the word cloud computing? So I'm sure we have all, or not all, but we all play some games online, and there's a new trend right now, which is cloud gaming. So it's basically just when you go on the website or you go on Steam or you go on any gaming application, you can access the game, and then you don't need to download the game to your personal system. You don't need to install the game. You just click on play, and then you start playing the game. So those games are being played on a server hosted somewhere else, and then you just have to just connect to the interface using whatever device you're using, either your phone or your laptop, and you get to interact with the game from your system. But your system is not the one processing the game. There's a server that is processing the games to which you are able to play. So basically, cloud gaming has evolved in the sense that you don't need to buy a high-end gaming system like maybe 32 gig RAM, NVIDIA graphics. You don't need to buy all that. You just need to just have a subscription to a cloud vendor. Then you can now be able to access those servers that have those high specs to be able to game. So what is this cloud computing? Cloud computing is, like I just explained, is on-demand availability of compute resources that have been given to you over the internet. It's basically like cloud, but it's just computing in the cloud. So I think I'll use an example. This analogy I'll use will be the analogy we'll use going forward throughout this webinar. So in the late 80s, there was companies or industries or factories, when they needed to like have electricity or have power in their office or in their buildings, they will need to have a generator, not really a generator shop, they will need to have a guy or guys down in the basement of their office. And those guys will be maybe moving a turbine engine or a generator to give power to the buildings. So each factory had its own private power that they had to get power to the buildings. So it was not, they have a centralized power point. They were all, the power was made locally. Now in the early 90s, Edison, which is we all know Edison, but he created a really huge power company that can generate large amounts of power. And those power that were generated, he distributed them to large scales, to businesses and to offices. So those guys didn't need to use a generator that was in-house. They could just tap on the power that is being generated by a huge power generating company, and then you just have to just tap into it and then get power in the building. So they don't need to have any physical infrastructure in their building. They don't need to have any machinery or any humans just managing the power. It's all done at the head, at the main office where the power is generated, and all they have to do is just tap into it. And that's basically what cloud is. There are servers, there are racks of servers out there over the internet, and all you need to do to have access to those servers and those data and those compute resources is just tap into the internet, and then you'll be able to use those resources. So that is basically what cloud computing is. So on next slide, we'll just be speaking on the deployment models of cloud. So there are basically 3 deployment models of cloud: the public cloud, the private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. So I'm going to be using analogies to explain these deployment models, but it's basically just, I'll start with the public cloud. Public cloud is an IT model where you have services and resources, complete services and complete resources given to you that is available to everyone. So everyone gets to use those services. It's not just private to only you. So when you connect to maybe AWS and Azure, which is one of the leading cloud platforms, you don't have to share those resources with, or you get to share those resources with other people, and then it is everywhere. You can just log into your system and then you can have access to it. So that is just basically what public cloud is. So I'll use an analogy for this public cloud. Public cloud is like maybe when you are leaving the house and then you need a public transport, you don't have a car, you have a private car that you own. So you have to use public transport, and then you have to use a bus. The bus is not owned by you. You don't own the bus. You don't care about whether the bus is fixed or is serviced. You just enter the bus and then you leave. So that is what cloud computing is. You just pay for what you use, and then you can leave at any time. So it's publicly available. So private cloud is, like I said, is if you have, like I gave example of that power company in the past. The private cloud is having your own private infrastructure in-house. So you get to, in the sense of private cloud now, you have your own servers, you deal with your own networking, you deal with your own power, you deal with your own storage, you do everything in-house. So everything is done in-house. It's like an on-prem service. So you get to choose when to turn it off, you get to choose who manages the server, you get to use who has access to the server. It's basically like having your own power generator company. If anything goes wrong, you really want to fix it. So it's private to you, it's just you that uses it. So simply put, it's just a deployment model where infrastructure is dedicated to just a single user organization. So the analogy is like having your own private car. Not that one is more exponential, just having your own private car, you get to service your car yourself, you get to fuel it yourself, you get to do repairs yourself. It's like having your own private car infrastructure. That is what the private cloud is. There are obviously benefits of private cloud to public cloud, but public cloud is more flexible and more flexible than the private cloud. So the hybrid cloud is just a mix of both public cloud and private cloud. So there are some users that require using both the public cloud infrastructure, that is giving users access to that public cloud infrastructure and making it accessible to the internet, and then having both a private cloud. So in sense where you have applications that you just need to only be accessible by in-house staff, you can use a private cloud architecture. So that information and that data is not being given out to, it's not being shown or it's not being exposed to the internet. It's just for private use only. And then maybe you have like an application, maybe your website or your emails or something, and then you need that to be accessible to the public. I need that's accessible through the internet. So you cannot use a public cloud. So the hybrid cloud is just a combination of both the public cloud and the private cloud infrastructure. So I'll be moving on now, and I'll be speaking on the cloud service models, which is the IaaS, the PaaS, and the SaaS. So I was speaking first on infrastructure as a service. So this basically is, I'll give an analogy of having your system before I explain what it is exactly. It's like having your system, and then your system comes with unlimited power, comes with unlimited storage, comes with unlimited compute resources, but you don't have access to those things. It's been given to you, but you don't have access to those things. All you have access to is just the OS level. You have access to, there's a abstraction layer in this cloud computing service. So it's been abstracted from compute, networking, storage, OS, runtime, data, and application. So there's an abstraction layer, and then for IaaS, the vendor, the public vendor, that is maybe Azure, AWS, takes control of the compute, the networking, and the storage. So you don't have to worry about those abstraction layer. You just have to worry about what OS you put on it. So you have to control the OS you put on the server that is being hosted in the cloud infrastructure. You also have access to the data that is on there. You have access to the application that is on there. So basically, you have a system. You are given a system to rent for that time, and then you get to do anything else to do with the system. Whether it is to install different OS, you can do that. Whether it's to host an application, you can do that. So you have access to anything that you can do on that server. So that's infrastructure as a service. So on technical terms, it's just a highly automated offering in which compute resources owned by a service provider like AWS and Azure, and then it comes with networking and storage capabilities that is offered to customers on demand. I'll speak about what on demand means when I'm speaking on the benefits of using our cloud, using cloud services. So the second service type is the platform as a service. So I won't speak too much about this because this is geared towards application developers. So if you are an application developer and then you need to run an application in a centralized location or in the, let's say in a sandboxed environment, and then you don't want maybe access to it publicly and you just want to see how it runs, you can use this platform as a service. So this platform service, you don't have access to the OS. Let me give an example. Imagine you have a system and then you can only install one application, that's one OS on that system. It's either Windows or Linux or Mac. You can use Mac on a server, but you can install Windows or Linux. So when you get that system that has that one OS, you can only run applications on that OS, and then you're also giving tools. Like maybe if I want to use Linux, you're giving tools that you can use to run those applications on that infrastructure. So that is basically platform as a service. Then software as a service. This is basically, we have all used SaaS applications before. SaaS applications are like your Gmails, your OneDrive, your iCloud. They are basically just applications that are hosted in the cloud that you have access to. So let's say you have a Gmail account and you want to access the Gmail account. That Gmail account or the storage or your mails, they are not stored locally on your device. Those data or those mails are stored in a server somewhere else. So you just have access to the application alone, and then you get to use that application like over the internet. So when you are hosting an application on a cloud platform, they don't give you access to other, like maybe the OS, the runtime, the data and everything. You just have access to just the application, you use it, and then you are good. So I see that there's a question. So Amanda.
Okay, so can we take questions after your presentation?
Okay.
So all questions can keep coming in. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I will just give a brief analogy of what these service models are, so that it's better understood. So in the SaaS, or in the I'll start with the infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure as a service is like having your own. Maybe you want to go and buy a car, or you want to rent a car, you want to own a car. You get to pick the car you want to pick. You get to go out and rent a car just for that period of time. You get to pick the car, you get to pick how it looks, the color and the rest. But then you're also responsible for the repairs of the car, servicing the car, registration of the car. You get to do all those things, but then the car is not yours. But then you have access to those things. You can also, maybe if you want to change the color of the car, the color does not suit you. So you have access to those benefits. If you are using the IaaS, you can change whatever you want to change in the car. So you have control over just some benefits of you owning that car. So that is what IaaS is. You have a system. You don't own the system, but then you can do whatever you want to do on that system, because you have OS rights. So platform as a service is like also hiring or renting a car, but then they hire a chauffeur with you, or they hire someone to assist you. So you don't have to worry about driving a car. You don't have to worry about location. You don't have to worry about how to get there. You don't have to worry about maybe the steering wheel. You just have to sit back, and maybe they'll give you some things that you just have to do. Maybe you just have to give them your location. That is what platform as a service does. You don't have access to everything. You cannot change some things. You cannot do some things in the OS level. But then you can run applications, and then you can run application, and you can also deploy applications on this solution. So it is limited. That's the limited use case when you want to run a platform as a service. Why software as a service? The analogy is just using a public transport system. So you don't have it. Sometimes when you're in a bus, you might not know, maybe in a BLT, you might not know who the driver is. Just enter the bus, because you know that it's going to take you from your route to where you're going to, that's your destination. So that is what services. You don't care where it's hosted, you don't care who's hosting it. Just use the application that is being hosted on the cloud platform. So that's what software as a service is. You don't have access to all the hardware or all the software or the applications. You just have access to using the resources that's in the application. So that is what software as a service is. So now we'll be moving to the benefits of the cloud. So number one benefit, which is one of the main reasons why people go into cloud, is scalability. So really, what is scalability? Scalability is literally having the ability to scale up, scale down, scale in, or scale out your complete resources. So in the event of when there's high demand, or when there's high load, or when there are people coming into your application that is hosted on your maybe in the cloud platform, and then you need to just bump it up for that period of time, this scalability helps with that, because of scalability, it gives you that benefit of scaling up instantly without having to shut down the server and then increase the RAM, or increase the storage, or increase any other thing. So you have the ability to scale up your infrastructure. So when you're using scalability, or when you're making use of scalability is in terms is when you have maybe you want to host your application on cloud, or you want to host some other application, and then you need more computing power for just that period of time, then you can scale up. But then when it's done, and when you don't need that resources anymore, you can scale back down, which is one of the major benefits of cloud. So when you have on-prem servers or on-prem cloud data centers, when you want to scale up, you have to buy the hardware. Basically, you have to plug it to the server. You have to turn off the server, spin back off the server till it uses that resources that was being added to it. And then when you don't need that resources anymore, you cannot remove it and give it back to the vendor. I'm like, I don't need it anymore. You have to still use it. So it's something like wasted resources. So with cloud, you don't have to have that disadvantage of wasted resources. Once you are done scaling up, and then maybe the load has reduced, maybe for the next day, you can scale down and then pay for just what is being used, but all the resources that are being used on that server. Then the next benefit is low cost of ownership. So this is a no-brainer. When you have like I just mentioned, when you want to get things, you have to get things physically. Like for capital costs, that is capital expenditure. When you go out and you get servers, which cost millions, when you get servers and you get the RAM, and you also have to think of the networking of those servers. You have to think of the storage that will be on the servers. You have to think of the manpower that will also bring up the infrastructure in your on-prem data center. And then you also have to think of the manpower that will manage those infrastructure when it's being set up. So that is capital expenditure. You pay upfront, everything is done upfront, and it can cost you millions. But when you are running with operational costs is like using utilities. You just pay for what you use. So when you go to the cloud and you get maybe a server, or maybe you spin up a server, maybe for maybe 2 months or 3 months, once they are done using it, you turn it back off, and then you only pay for that amount of time that the server was used. So it's like renting the system, but then giving it back, but then it is cheaper and it is much more convenient. So operational cost it helps when you use the operational cost, it helps you think more of innovating and think more of being more innovative to your customers, rather than thinking of the expenditure or the cost that you get by buying those things, those physical servers physically and your on-prem infrastructure. So that is one benefits of the cloud. It helps you think more of innovation than think more on expenditure. So the third benefit is on-demand and high availability. So what do I mean by on-demand? I said I'll speak on this before. On-demand is basically having that resources or the ability to get that resources immediately. That's why I put high availability. So when you want to, let's imagine you want to get another server, or maybe you're using an on-prem server and you want to get another server, maybe you want to get another resource to top up the server, you probably have to go out to get the hardware or get the resource, come back in, put it in. It takes time. But with cloud, it's instant. You just few clicks and then you have that server up and running immediately. And then if you want to, like I said, scale up or scale down, you can just go to the portal, increase the RAM, increase the hard drive. And the best thing is that you just pay for the amount of time you use that resource. That is one of the most and one of the best benefits of cloud. You pay for just what you use. So being on demand, in case that you have that thing always available to you, it is always there for you to use. You can just log into your system by 12 in the morning, and then you can spin up a cloud. You can a cloud server. You can also do it. It's always there. It's always available. That's one of the major benefits of cloud computing. The fourth one is unlimited resource pooling. And what do I mean by unlimited resource pooling? It's basically the ability to get as many resources as you want. You can top your server with infinite amount of resources. Like I can't think about the amount of resources that you can top up your server with just to get it up and running. If you want to do this with on-prem services, you're going to have to spend a lot of money, and you're going to have to, because there are purchase order up and down. Like there's a lot of head work when you are doing on-prem pooling of resources. But with cloud, you just, like I said, it's pay as you go. So you already have your credit card or your debit card there already, and then you just, when you spin up just that high amount of resource, you just pay for using that high amount of resource. So it's always there, it's always available. Even need more than 1,000 gig of RAM, is there for you. You can communicate with a server that has almost 1,000 gig of RAM. If you want to one that has 10 terabytes or 50 terabytes of hard drive space, you can do that too. The amount of virtual CPU, if you want it to be topped up to use maybe AMD or Intel graphics card, it's there for you. It is always available, and it's always unlimited. Then the last benefit, this by no chance is all the benefits of cloud, but these are just the major benefits of cloud. And the last one is the flexibility. Flexibility, I think I've already explained to you when I spoke on the other benefits. So having the ability to scale up, scale down at ease, having the ability to just pay for what you use, having the ability to get these resources on demand, and then get this high amount of resource pooling. That is one of the greatest flexibility you can get when you are using the cloud, because you can spin up servers at will. You can spin it up anywhere. You can spin it up at any time. It is just always available, which leads to being it leads to the flexibility of the cloud in general. So I'll be moving on to the why businesses? So why should your business adopt cloud computing? Like, if you are really thinking about adopting cloud computing, why should your business adopt it? So the first one is that it drives collaborative efforts. So like I said, there are SaaS applications out there that companies use for their in-house or private infrastructure. So if you're using maybe like Office 365, companies that use Office 365 knows the advantage of using Office 365 because it knows that it drives team effort because you can edit files on the go anywhere and at any time. So you don't even need those files to be locally on your system. Those files will be on the cloud, and then those files can be edited by anyone as long as they have access to it. So gone are those days when they ask you that you should edit just your part and then maybe send to the another person in the company for them to also edit their part and send back to you, and then you don't know who did what or what did what. But when you are logged in or when you are using that application, you can see in real time what changes is being made on that application, and then you can also by then maybe make changes by yourself and then collaborate together. So cloud helps to foster collaboration between team members. And then also it has better security. I know some people might think that, okay, because this is the cloud and it is the public cloud, it is going to be open to attacks, open to vulnerabilities. There are many vector points, but that is literally not true because even the network or the on-prem server that you have locally on your system, on your on-prem infrastructure, maybe your businesses, you're not really sure of the security that is there. But when you are tuned into the big top dogs in the cloud computing space, like Amazon, we all know Amazon, we all know AWS, Azure, we all use Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, GCP, those are big boys, and you are sure that they have people checking their infrastructure 24/7, looking for any point of vulnerability or any point of attack. You know that they're always going to be there and they're always going to patch that vulnerability on hand. So when you are thinking of security and then you are seeing the myths or you're hearing the myths about cloud not being as secure as on-prem, but that's not true. There are some companies that have been hacked on-prem before. On-prem doesn't mean you're safe and you're secure. As long as that on-prem server has access to the internet, it is not secure. So when you're talking about security, some people, or most people, choose cloud computing because they are sure that their security is being handled by top organizations in the world. So it's all benefit. Why you should use the cloud is business continuity and system recovery. So in the event where you have, or maybe let's say you have an on-prem server now, and then you're also one of them that says that security is not an issue because it's on-prem, and then they hack you, and maybe you are also a victim to ransomware attack. What will you do afterwards? How will your business continue working if a ransomware attack happens in your business? Because when it does, it encrypts all your data. All your data is encrypted. Nobody in the company has access to any of your data. So the best and the only solution to ransomware attacks, if you check anywhere, is backup, and not just backup to the cloud, off-site backup. So one of the benefits of cloud is that you have this backup. You have this benefit of having your backup in an off-site location. So when there's a disaster recovery in your company, or maybe there's a hack or ransomware attack in your company, business users or staffs can still have access to that application that's been hosted in another server off-site. So which can, and this is done instantly. So there's no downtime in your business process. So basically, this is, when done right, it is seamless. So the fourth reason why you should do that is it's simple and it is cost effective. So what do I mean by it is simple? So like I've explained, like in my previous slides, it is as spinning up a server is as easy as few clicks. You just go to the cloud portal and then you just spin up a server. Is as easy as that, is as simple as that. And then you don't have to worry about maybe buying the server physically, because of when you maybe if you're using Azure or if you're using AWS, you get to add your card to that platform. And then when you want to spin up a server, you spin it up, and then when they want to bill you for those down month, you get billed for what you use. And why is it cost effective? Like I've explained before, it uses a pay-as-you-go model. So you don't have to worry about capital costs. You really have to worry about operational costs. And operational costs doesn't cost as much because of you are being built for what you use, for only what you use. There's no wasted resources. There's no nobody's using our server now, it's being wasted there. If nobody's using your server, if nobody's using your application using your server, you can just drop down the resources to about the barest minimum. So when you now say that there's load on that server, you can scale back up again. So basically there's no wasted resource. And then the fifth one, which is integration and standardization. So cloud platform or cloud vendors, they have to be ISO certified. They have to be compliant. They have to have a standardized way of doing their work if they want to have this cloud infrastructure or be a cloud vendor. So when you host your server or you host your application on that platform, you are sure of getting the top standard and the top integration platforms that comes with it. There are some organizations that they want to, or they don't allow that data to get to another region. So if you want to host your data and then they're like, okay, this data should not be used in this location. It can only be used in this location. People use cloud computing to do this because cloud vendors, top cloud vendors have servers located in every region of the world. So if they are saying that they don't want your data to be hosted in this region, maybe let's say in Asia, you can just move all those data from Asia to maybe Africa or to North America, and then that data is only accessible and only resides in North America. So that also helps you to be compliant and also to be standardized. And then for the integration part, there are cloud vendors out there. They have integration with top applications. So if you want to maybe run an application on your cloud server, there's already an integrated solution there for you that you just have to just click on install and use. That's one of the benefits of using it for your businesses. Then the last one is enormous opportunities. I think talked much about this. It's like I said before, having a cloud or thinking cloud helps you to focus more on your customers than on your infrastructure. So when you are not wasting a lot of money on physical hardware and you are just but you're just using the money for improving and seeing how you can go into the market better, seeing how you can disrupt the market, seeing how you can innovate, you know that you are going to create more opportunities for both your business and then both also your partners. So which is one of the reasons why you need to adopt it in your businesses. So I'm going to be speaking on some of the things that you don't know about cloud computing. So I'm not going to waste too much time on this. I'm just going to list it out. But one of the trends or one of the facts about cloud computing is that more than 60% of IT spending is cloud-based. So this shows that cloud computing is really taking a stretch, and then it's just a matter of time before every company moves to the cloud. Second is during the pandemic, 18% of businesses were using some sort of cloud-based IT solution. So it's when we all went through the pandemic, and then we also that people were not coming to the offices. So when this happened, businesses started moving towards the cloud because of users were working remotely, and then they need to access their application. And for them to access the application, they needed to go to the cloud. So during the pandemic, cloud computing really boomed during the pandemic. So the third trend is that the global cloud computing market was a whopping $262 billion in 2018. And then also in 2020, that market share was about 600 billion. That's to show you how well the big cloud computing market is going. And then it's stated that in 2025, the cloud computing market will be over 800 billion. So if by now you are not thinking of initiating this cloud computing to your business plan, you should be thinking of that now, because of it has, and I'm not saying this so that because of everyone is doing it, that you should do it. But like I've said in the past, the technology speaks for itself. Once you adopt cloud computing to your business processes, you find how cost effective and how ingenious and how it can initiate and digitalize your business going forward. Then another fact is that by 2025, businesses will be deploying 95% of all new workloads to cloud native. So which means by that time, there won't be any physical servers or on-prem servers by the year 2025. Everybody or every business will be thinking of deploying that application in the cloud infrastructure somewhere, so which is going to lead for a disruption in the cloud business. So for the next slide, I'll just be quickly speaking about some of the uses or some of the users of the cloud platform. So for the first one, which is the CH2, is basically just for people that want to use a system in the cloud. Maybe you just want to just run an application in the cloud, or maybe you just need a high internet traffic, because this gives you 100 megabits. So you just want to just see if this application is slow because of network or because of this, you can just go into the cloud platform, our cloud platform, and then ask for a CH2 hosting and then get it in the cloud. Then for this second one, by the way, this is not all our plans that we have in our cloud and our portfolio. I basically just took out a subset so I can just explain who uses what and what it does. Then the cloud hosting CH5 is basically for people that want to, maybe you want to host a file storage in our cloud platform, or then you want to store files in our cloud platform. So using things like 4-core, up to 8 gig RAM, or 50 gig storage, you can use these resources to just, maybe you want to go, you want to host shared folders in our cloud infrastructure so that your on-prem users can be able to get access to it. This plan is best for you. Then the next one is CH8, which is our 6-core, 16 gig, 200 gig RAM, then 200 gig storage and 20 megabits per second. This is basically you want to go into that social recovery that I spoke about earlier. So if you want to host your application in event of disaster, you can use this plan to host your applications there also. The next one, which is the CH12, 8-core, 32 gig RAM, 400 gig storage, and 400 megabits per second. This is for the high-end people that want to host applications in cloud. You know that when people are hosting applications in the cloud, those applications need to be hosted where there's high RAM, so that when users are getting access to it and it's being worked on and there's load on that server, it's not really going to affect how long the application takes to load. So when you get a config of this high, you can make sure, you can rest assured that the application is going to run smoothly on that server. Then the last one, which is the CH20, this is the high-end one, the top-end one, 16-core CPU, but 64 gig RAM, 400 gig storage, and 400 megabits per second. This is used mainly for big data analytics. So if you want to get data, you want to get data about your customer insights, market trends, sales performance, and then run that data that you got in like a software, like a script to get information out of it. And you know that you need to use a server that has a high amount of resources so that you can be able to make sense of what exactly the data you got in is used for. Okay, I think this brings to the end of my presentation. I hope by the end of this presentation, at least you have got a tip of cloud computing and maybe how it can help digitize and simplify your business process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Elvis. Thank you so much for speaking intensely on this practical solution. So before we go on to the next speaker that will be speaking on the different price categories and the commercialization, we can just start to take the questions now. So before anyone can come up to maybe giving the opportunity to ask any further questions, let's take the written ones. Okay, someone says, what's the difference between private cloud and the old in-house data center? So over to you, Elvis.
So difference between public cloud and the old data center, like I've explained. Sorry?
Yes.
Yeah, you said between private cloud and the old data center. So they are essentially the same thing. So when you have a private cloud infrastructure and then you have an on-prem server, it is private to you. It is only you that have access to those resources. Nowadays, there's the private cloud where you can host it in a cloud, in a public cloud, but then you will have VPN access to that infrastructure. So only you have access to the infrastructure for using VPN, which is a virtual private network. So you can have a private cloud, which is an on-prem, a private cloud, which is hosted in a cloud platform as a public cloud. I hope that answers the question.
Okay. I hope that answered your question. The first, okay, so the next one is, in terms of GDPR, how safe will our data be?
Okay, so like I explained before, the data or the security on these data centers are being handled by top engineers and top professionals in the field, because they are being done by Google, Amazon, and Microsoft. So you are sure that they are compliant, you are sure that they are standardized, and you are sure that any, even though it's PCI says that you need to compliant, you are sure that those cloud vendors are compliant in that area, especially GDPR. You know that they are going to be compliant and they're going to be standardized in that area. So for security, rest assured your data is safe if you are being hosted, if it's hosted in a public cloud infrastructure.
Okay, I think there's one more question. This is coming from Daniel. Can I get just the storage service alone, or do I need to purchase other service as a prerequisite?
Okay, yeah, you can. We offer just storage alone, so you don't really need to get all the server spec and maybe get access to a VM hosted on the cloud infrastructure. You can just get maybe a storage space, maybe just need 100 gig of storage, just host your files and then get your files back and maybe to your users that can access it from anywhere and from any device. So yes, you can just get the storage plan alone without getting the other guys.
Okay, Daniel, I hope that answers your question. So the next one is from, okay, there's no name here, but where are your data centers located and how many?
Okay, we run under the Azure stack. So our cloud infrastructure is using the Azure stack. So as you can guess, Azure is worldwide. So they have data centers in, I don't know the exact stats, but they have data centers in about 40 countries. So which means there's a data center at least in every region or every continent in the world. So that's why when I spoke on compliance, I told you that you can host your data in whatever location, wherever region in the world you want to host that data so as to be compliant. So when it comes to location of data, well, the rest assured can be done in any location of your choice.
Okay, another one from Daniel. How fast is the accessing of my data in your infrastructure? Or does it depend on my bandwidth in my production environment?
Okay, so when you have connection to the storage in our cloud infrastructure, like I showed you the spec before on what we offer, the bandwidth we offer in our cloud infrastructure, you can get almost above 1 gig up and down. That's upload and download speed, almost 1 gig per second. So like you said, when you want to retrieve your data from our cloud infrastructure, it all depends on your own local download speed. So when you are downloading the file from our cloud infrastructure to your on-prem, maybe your device or your system, it all depends on the bandwidth, on the download bandwidth that your ISP is giving you in your organization. So, like I said, you can structure your span bandwidth in our cloud infrastructure to whatever amount you want. Then it's still dependent on the download speed and the bandwidth in your environment.
Okay, thank you so much, Elvis. Daniel, I hope that answers your question intently. Does anyone have any more questions to ask before we move on to the next presenter? Okay, so we will have Damilola Mutiat. She's the product manager for PCIS Cloud Computing Service, and she'll be speaking on the commercialization and the different price category. So, Dami.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and share my screen. Stop sharing. Okay. So can you see my screen? The slide.
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. So thank you everyone for joining us again. I'll go right into it. This is the table of contents. I'll be speaking on the introduction as well as product benefits, also going through why PCIS and also some other added benefits of signing up for our cloud service. So as my previous presenter introduced, we offer cloud services, and we have various data centers cutting across different geographical zones, and we're able to offer these services irrespective of where you are, and also applying to data, whatever data compliances your organization have to comply to. So I'm going to move on to product benefits. Though my other presenter already spoke on this, I'm just going to pick a few things that I think it didn't mention and explain that. So I'll be speaking on consultancy. Because of how a lot of people have a misconception that cloud is very expensive. Yes, it's a bit pricey, but we have come up with a kind of service where we advise you on how to move to the cloud. We come up with a plan for you where you don't have to move all of your services to the cloud. So basically, we advise you on how on moving your critical documents, your critical that you're not overspending while still getting the value of moving to the cloud. Please, can you still hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. There was a glitch, but we can hear you now.
Okay. So I'm also going to speak on this low computer cost and improved performance, as well as reduced software cost. Now, because you're signing up for infrastructure as a service, all cost for improving your services, updating your software, these are things that come as a part of our services. We make sure that your software are updated, timely updating, as well as improved performance. Talking about low computer cost, moving to the cloud means you don't have to worry about managing in-house servers, the cost of running a server room and all of that. We make sure that all your software are instantly updated, and while updating, it doesn't affect your day-to-day running of your business as well. So moving on to unlimited storage capability. Our service is a kind where you pay as you go. So if it gets to a point where you're running low on storage, you can easily upscale that, and basically just go to your portal where you can easily choose a new storage plan you want to upgrade to, and you can do all of this seamlessly without disrupting your day-to-day business runnings. So speaking on increased data reliability, we assure that your data is secured, and we aside from the security that comes with our cloud service, we also have an in-house security, which is Bitfinder, that helps to increase the security of your data. You can be assured that you're not losing anything at any point in time. And okay, so moving on to why PCIS, I'm going to speak on these few points: support, easy to use management portal, data compliance, and all of this. So speaking on support, because our service, we are a local cloud service provider, we are able to provide 24/7 support for your business. When comparing to other international or even local competitors, getting support and getting issues resolved for whatever uprisings you might have would usually take time when comparing to them. Some would even require you raise multiple tickets and moving through stages just to get your issues resolved. But we can guarantee that your issues will be resolved almost instantly. And we can even have someone coming in house to resolve these issues for you. So we provide for you 24-hour support almost instantly. So you also have access to an easy to use management portal. This is where you can, at one glance, you can see your data center, you can see your VMs, your servers, you can see your current storage size, you can see everything. You can know when you're almost out of storage space and instantly click on upscaling and increasing your storage size. So basically, our portal is very straightforward and self-explanatory. There's nothing too technical about it. Everything is just presented to you in a very visual way for you to understand. So moving on to data compliance, I think my former presenter already mentioned, we have data centers in different regions, in different geographical locations. So if you're a business that doesn't want your data out of the country, we have data centers in virtually almost all countries. So this will make it, this will allow your company to be able to obey whatever data compliance you have to and have your data still accessible in the cloud. So I'm moving on to integrated options. Now, part of the integrated services that comes with our cloud service are some of our existing business service. Promethean as an organization offers other services. I think my colleague Amanda already mentioned that we offer other services. We have kind of branded these services and also maybe move them together with PCIS Cloud for free, absolutely for free. So some of the services are network monitoring with OP Manager, where you monitor your network. We have endpoint central management, service text bus, which is an help desk tool. We also have event log analyzer, cloud firewall. This is another firewall. Our cloud service comes with its own firewall, but we also kind of give it an extra cover so that your data is secure. We also have an endpoint security, which is an antivirus. Excuse me. This is an additional antivirus to protect your data from any malware or any attacks. We also have a backup with Vim. As part of an add-on to our service, we provide a kind of 7 days backup where if you experience any downtime, all your data up to 7 days ago can be retrieved and gotten back so that your business can continue running. Of course, if you want more storage, that means you want maybe 14 days or 30 days backup, that can be arranged with additional cost. But as part of an add-on to this service, we give you a 7 days guarantee that all your data from 7 days ago can be retrieved. So moving on to other integrated options is 75 plus templates. Our service comes with existing templates that you can spin up to run whatever add-ons you want to do. So moving on to pricing, this is a kind of breakdown of the pricing from the lowest to the highest. On cloud hosting, you can pay as little as 33,200 Naira per month on this one core CPU up to 512 MB RAM, 15 gram and 250 gig bandwidth, and going all the way to CH20, which is a 16 core CPU up to 64 gig RAM and the likes. So one of the benefits of our pricing is the fact that you do not have to worry about the current dollar exchange rate. Our price is not tied to the exchange rates. This price is almost fixed. If there will be any change, you get ample notice. There will be enough time for you to be aware that there will be a change in these prices. So before I move on, I would like to share my I'd like to show you our website where you see more pricing options. Please hold on. And if you have any questions, I think you can drop them now.
Okay, while we wait for the website to be shared, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat box and we can take them after the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so this is further breakdown of our pricing. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so our pricing starts all the way from as low as 3,200 per month for this sizes, and going all the way to CH20, which is 305,000 naira. So we have basically a plan for every business, a plan for whatever storage size you have. If you don't find a plan here for you, we can always send you a customized quote for your need. So basically, you can come here, take a look at our pricing, and go ahead and place your order or reach out to us for your customized pricing. And we also have this cloud cluster where you have a kind of bigger service where you can have your own public IP, you can have bigger storage space, and so on. So yeah, basically these are our price options. So please, do we have any questions as regards to pricing or anything you'd like me to clarify?
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Dami, for showing us this. Any more questions coming in? Okay, there is one from Daniel. He says, I heard you mention something about Vim. Are you saying you offer 7 days backup for free?
Yes, we do. We basically have your backup of a full 7 days ready in case you have any kind of downtime. Those days can be retrieved and you have your data back and you can start running your businesses. Okay. And of course, like I mentioned, you can have those days extended, which will now come at an extra cost.
Okay. Daniel, I hope that answers your question. Any more questions? You can just speak. Okay, I'm not sure there. Do you have any questions or you want to just chat? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. We are so pleased to have you here.
Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
Yeah, okay, someone asked how they can get the recording.
Okay, we'll send that to you via mail for everyone that registered to join this meeting. We'll send that to you via mail. We'll probably give you a link where you can listen to the recording. So if you have any questions, if you have any more information you need, if you need to make payments or buy any size for this cloud computing, you can reach us at sales@prometheanconsult.com, or you can reach damilola.mutiu@PCIS.ng. Her email address is right here on the screen. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.